Oh my God. So what's good, y'all? So real quick, man, I'm gonna do a reaction to Out the Mud podcast with Zebo and Tony Allen, man. Zach Randolph and Tony Allen, bro. They had Al Harris on there, bro. And I found a lot of these interview clips, bro, really amazing, bro. Al Harrington is hilarious, bro. This man is hilarious, bro. So without further ado, man, let's check out one of these podcast clips, bro. Let's go ahead and get into it, man.
That's how I got to the Knicks. And same thing, bro. But I got to the Knicks and Mike D'Antoni was the coach. And
what's his name?
Mike D'Antoni.
Fake as hell. Fake it as a $3 bill. Oh, man.
Like, bro, we getting our ass kicked on defense, and we tell him, me and Larry Hughes come in the office and say, Coach, we will have the guys come in 30 minutes early just to go over defensive principles so that we can just be a little, because we were scoring mad points.
Yeah. Get points. All his teams do that.
He like, defense ain't the problem. That's what he told us. Defense ain't the problem. Defense ain't the problem. Get out of my office. Defense ain't the problem.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. Like, Mike D'Antoni had this, this little fast-paced offense he been running since, like, the early mid-2000s, bro. And he lasted in the league pretty long, bro. And I just be thinking sometimes, like, considering that we're in this era where, small ball is very emphasized, and scoring is such a priority, and like the NBA just doing numbers as far as scoring. Like, how would Mike D'Antoni fit in today's or the modern NBA? How would he fit in this era? I think he would fit pretty good. However, my only knock on that is that Mike D'Antoni he not only doesn't believe in defenses, but he doesn't also really like put an emphasis on having a really true front court. Because when you look at some of those Phoenix Suns teams, and you look at some of those Houston Rockets teams, and even the team Al Harris played on, bro, like all his power forwards or like all his like front court pieces, like, it's really like you really out there on the floor with like 3 guards, maybe like a small forward. You know what I'm saying? Like Trevor Ariza was like the power forward, when he was there, bro. They didn't really have a power forward. They had a center. They had Clint Capella, right? And then when he was in Phoenix, Amari Stoudemire, outside of the year, I think he was there with Shaq. I think he might have been there with Shaq. But like outside of the, Amari Stoudemire, I think they might have had Tim Thomas. I think that's his name. Tim Thomas at power forward too. But like most of those guys are like stretch power forwards. You know what I'm saying? Like Sean Marion was like somebody who could like guard 1 through 4. And although he was like he had a very weird unorthodox game, like he could still score, the basketball and even shoot 3-pointers. So like Mike D'Antoni just had this thing of just playing small ball, even in an era where bigs are still dominant. And even still to this day, like the teams that have a complete front court are the most dominant teams, right? You know what I'm saying? So, teams that actually, have like a good depth at their front court, like the Boston Celtics, they got Al Horford, KP, Milwaukee, when Milwaukee had their run, they had, they still got Bobby Portis, they got Giannis, and they got Brook Lopez. And even if you look at that playoff run that Milwaukee had, they had Giannis playing off the ball, bro, and Drew Holiday was initiating the offense. You know what I'm saying? That's why they won. If we're going to keep it real, Giannis had to play off the ball. And, like, the year that the Lakers won. You know what I'm saying? A full solid front court, bro. Anthony Davis at the four, JaVale McGee, and Dwight Howard at the center, bro. So like the modern teams of today, they still front courts are everything, and front courts still dominate. So
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm from there, bro. So that's why we talking about the losing at
you
the
want the
crib, bro.
competitive.
Like, I can't even go nowhere.
Yeah, the
I'm
competitive.
averaging 20, but I'm losing every night. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was my Knick days. But I had a year and a half. It was a good run. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to play in the Garden. I remember, man, I always had butterflies before every game because I never wanted to get booed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I still, like I tell Jared Jeffries, bro, like, I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
Remember, they would boo him when he
My
he
Indiana
started.
boy, man.
Yeah, they'd be like, Jared Jeffries, boo, before the game. They didn't give him a chance to even see if he's going to play well. I'm like, nigga, how did you deal with that? But
Yo,
everybody
that's
tough in their own way.
Right.
that's crazy.
And then from there, from the Knicks, you was able to land in Denver.
Yeah,
Play
so
with Chauncey and Melo.
Johnson, Melo, but
Yeah.
you know, we had crazy ass George Karl as the coach.
I had Kmart too, then, y'all.
Kmart was there.
Yeah, squad.
I think Kmart was coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, that team was interesting too, bro. It was just like, you know, playing with like guys like Chauncey, because you know, Chauncey like 1 year alpha, but you know, he mad smart. He as smart as the head coach every time, you know? So just watching like him and George Karl have their little chess matches would be like always funny as hell, just because Chauncey was just as smart as this motherfucker. So he'd be like, nah, we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Just watching how he would deal with George. So I understood why George got rid of him and Melo, because they had got to the point where you couldn't tell them nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even going to say they was wrong. I think they was right in a lot of the stuff, but it's just for him, he lost control. But he knew if he got Ty Lawson in there and Aaron to follow, you know what I'm saying?
Some young cats.
Yeah, they'll do everything he say to do. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Those 2 years.
I remember when they went from like Chauncey Billups and Melo to like Ty Lawson and Aaron to follow. And I was kind of a fan of Ty Lawson because, you know what I'm saying, he went to North Carolina. Not that I'm just crazy about North Carolina, but I remember that time he was there and they won a championship. Yeah. But, yeah, man. Aaron Afalo was low-key kind of nice, though. I ain't gonna lie. He was kind of nice. And Ty Lawson ain't really last that long as I thought he would, man. But
It's cool. We made playoffs both years. You know what I'm saying? I remember one of my first meetings with George Karl. He brought me in his office and we talking, and he's like asking me like, how come I don't rebound more or whatever? And I was just, cause I think I averaged like 6.5 rebounds. He's like, why you not a 9-rebound guy or whatever? So I didn't really have a reason why. I was like, I don't know. And he was just like, then he says to me, he's like, how many games have you won the last couple years? Right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
because I'm coming from the Knicks, so we won like 36 games, 32 games. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I've won 50 plus for the last 8 seasons. I looked at him and I was like, that's crazy, George. I ain't never seen you play. I hadn't.
Which
why
is
is he
a
comparing?
fact.
Like, why is he comparing himself? What? I'm like, you the coach? Like, what? I'm like, I literally said that. So I was like, I never seen you play. And he was like, nah, like, I coach teams to win 50 plus games every year. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. But that told me a lot about him at that time, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, me and George, we actually have a decent relationship or whatever, but of course he has his flaws. And it's funny, you know, he'll see something, he see me say something, he'll attack me on Twitter about it. You know, he petty. But I always said, like, the biggest thing with him was just like, when we won games, it was because of him. And when we lost, it was because of us.
Yeah.
He's one of them type coaches or whatever. But it is what it is, though.
Yeah, nah.
man, I always hear these George Karl stories, bro. You know, Kenyon Martin, Kmart got his stories about it. I think J.R. Smith he might have made a podcast appearance where he talked about his time in Denver with George Karl. But everybody got their story, bro, about George Karl, man. But, you know, how he kind of like sabotaged Melo a little bit. Or like, you know, him and Melo like really just butted heads, bro. And like he was just this super duper arrogant dude, you know what I mean? Like, George Karl built his career off of like coaching guys like Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. He was the head coach of those supersonic teams, and also I think he was a coach for the Sacramento Kings in the early 2000s, around when they had Weber and Bibby, Vlade, Divac, and Stojakovic, and the whole crew. But yeah, man. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. I'll get at y'all later.